coming at you live from the home of the cup holders, the Wackasurjet Cup holders, Devonport Strikers, high off a massive victory on Queen's Birthday Monday over their very opposition today. The Devonport Strikers host South Hobart in a tantalising top-of-the-table meeting to kick off PS4 NPL TAS Round 12 action. I'm Damien Gill from Football Federation Tasmania. It's an absolute pleasure to be up on the northwest coast, Sunshine Coast as they call it around these parts. And what is a wonderful day and what should be a wonderful contest between the two leading teams in the state currently. Let's get right into the action and right into the lineups and go through the cup holders, the ladder leaders, the Devonport Strikers, starting off with their custodian in goal, Nicholas Giansopoulos. He's been a superb acquisition. The Canadian is a pillar of strength at the back, really giving that defensive line a lot of confidence. He's been superb. The defence, well, it's been so trusty so far this year. In the middle, and the heart of defence, it will be Joe Zuppo, partnered with Nathan Grattan, as they have been all year. They gobble up everything in the air and are just so defiant at the back. They read the game just about better than anyone back there. On the flanks, defensively, Kieran Mulroney, who had Darcy Hall in his pocket on Monday, be looking to do the same, lining up on one flank. And Dom Smith, the youngster, on the other, who's been superb. They've all got high at that back four, so it's going to be tough to break down. In midfield, it will be Miles Barnard and Daniel Sison, two absolute workhorses. Daniel Sison in particular, who's having a tremendous season. The Englishman really has kicked it up a notch this year. His second year at the Strikers, he's been superb. Miles Barnard just works and bullocks all day. And then we have Joel Stone, the razzle-dazzle that is Joel Stone, back in the midfield lineup after a one-week suspension. He missed a big game, but they got the job done without him. But he'll slot straight back in for Bo Blizzard, who's out ill. And the attacking line, which is where their defence starts, to be honest, Adam Gorry, Braden Mann, the skipper, who's been so good over so many years, scored 100 goals just recently, and Brody Denehey, who just works his socks off. In reserve, not that they often go to the bench, but if they do, there's Bradley Chilcott, number 2, the Big Red Rock, Uluru, Jesse Dance, the youngster, and Harrison Wicks, another youngster, and Tom Pearce, who's the reserve goalkeeper, just from all reports is getting better and better with the guidance of Nico Giansopoulos. Over to the visitors, South Hobart FC. A couple of changes here. James Wilson will still guard goal. The defence looks a little different though, with Loic Farrell, Hugh Ludford and Dan Brown centrally, and then it'll be Matt Lewis on the other flank. So it's going to be very interesting to see how that works. Matt Lewis, who has played wide, will play wide once more. We'll see. It sees Liam Quayle out of the lineup, which is interesting because he's had a stellar season, but he's out of the starting lineup. In midfield, we see a debutant, Matthew Hess, into the mix. Of course, brother of Alfred Hess, who unfortunately drops out of the starting lineup, I think. And in midfield, it will be Matthew Hess, Nick Morton, and I'm not 100% sure who else is in the midfield mix there, but there'll be Darcy Hall, Matt, who else? We might have Freddie Hess, Alex Lazinski, and Alex Walter again. So it'll be Alex Walter. An interesting lineup. The major change, I guess, is Matthew Hess into the lineup and Liam Quayle out of the lineup. So a very interesting change. In reserve, they've got youngsters galore. Liam Quayle, Pajari Sculthorpe, and Jack Bowman. Connor Schmidt was meant to be on the bus, but apparently it just hasn't come up. He's got a bit of a corky, so that's a bit of a blow for South Hobart as they look to really wreak revenge for what was a big cup defeat on Monday. Only 1-0 in terms of scoreline, but it was a cup they wanted to win just about more than anything, and they went down. So the ladder, well, first of all, Devonport Strikers form, it's been scintillating, it's been sumptuous. Look at that, all the W's in the right-hand column. They're on a winning streak, and if you add the cup win into that as well, they're in fine form, and they're back home looking to make this a big 6-point win. If they get the job done, it truly is a 6-pointer today up against their closest rivals. Next on the we've got South Hobart coming off a pretty good streak themselves. A lot of W's, a draw in the mix against Hobart Jeep Zebras. But unfortunately for them, their most recent result is a loss on Queen's Birthday Monday. But as I said, they'll be looking to get revenge. If they get the job done today, as we see, as represented on the ladder, they can jump to top spot. So it is a gargantuan clash in terms of the NPL TAS table. Zebras, of course, will watch on with keen interest to see what happens here at Valley Road, the home of the Strikers. Strikers, so traditionally very, very good at home. It's been a real fortress for them. But in more recent times, in fact, they've been a really good road team. And when they played Zebras at home earlier on this year, and they probably had to make the running, it was a bit of a foreign thing for them, and they didn't deliver on that occasion and went down to the Zebras. I think they maybe learned some lessons from that one, and they'll be looking to really sit in and frustrate South Hobart today. We see at the top of the tree in terms of the PFD Golden Boot, Alex Lazinski leads all comers with 13 goals. Just nipping at his heels is Braden Mann, who's won the last couple. So he'll be looking to make it, I think, his fourth time in a row, Braden Mann. So up against the old firm, he'll be looking to have a good day out here at Valley Road. So we're not far at all from getting underway here at Valley Road, the home of the Strikers. So the starting 11s we've gone through, decent crowd packed in, why not? They're keen and ready to go. A lot of reasons to be keen and ready to go. Of course, top of the table, cup holders off to the FFA Cup. It doesn't get too much better than that for the home side, Devonport Strikers. Success built off the back of a strong backbone, a strong defence. But the defence doesn't start necessarily at the defence. It is up front when they swarm like hives. They're all over it when it comes to a pressing. Their press is really frenetic, and it puts teams under the pump from the word go. We've seen it successfully used against South Hobart on 2 occasions now. South Hobart, a team that more or less score at will against most teams, haven't been able to craft any real clear-cut chances, maybe a couple of half chances against this team across 180 minutes. They'll be looking to break them down today, and it'll be interesting to see what the inclusion of the debutant Maddie Hess brings to the equation, and obviously a different element in there, and they had to change something from Monday. It didn't go their way. They kept banging their head against the big yellow wall that was the Devonport defence. They just held out. I think maybe they've learned some more lessons from that. It would be really, really interesting to see how this one goes down. My tip's a 1-1 draw. I don't think there's too much between these two teams. I think it'll be a 1-1 draw. Ash believes it'll be 1-2 to South Hobart. So that's interesting in itself. South Hobart donning their black strip today. The hosts in the blue. As we get very close to both teams marching out there. Valley Road surface looking in pretty reasonable touch, considering that the amount of the downpour we've seen in the northern part of the state in recent times. Numbers piling in, cars packing the place, and as I said, why not? The Devonport Strikers are flying. They must be up and about with everything going on. Brenton Copra in the middle. And not far at all from getting underway. Minute of silence there for the passing of Nigel Brown, the former Somerset president. Had a large imprint on the game on the northwest coast and in Tasmania in general. Magnificent man, taken far too soon. So lovely sign of respect from both sides. Ahead of this massive NPL TAS encounter, the hosts will be looking to really make this a big win off the back of what is a magnificent Lac-Selgic Cup victory. If they get the job done today, as I said before, it'll be a true 6-pointer. They're currently just 2 points ahead of South Hobart. If South Hobart take the chocolates, they'll be eclipsed at the top of the table. But if they win, they can take their advantage over South Hobart to 5 points, which will be rather large, having only to play South Hobart one more time in this season beyond today's encounter. So the two teams in their huddles. There's Braden Mann, of course, a former South Hobart player, up against his old team, and what is a really strong ground for him in terms of goals scored. Even with South Hobart, he enjoyed success last year. I think he scored a hat-trick on this very turf, so he'll be looking to make it a big one today. His goal scoring maybe not his strongest this season. He's had stronger goal scoring output, but he's put it together in terms of a pressure perspective, been superb. So the major changes to the lineups. It's Joel Stone back in for the Strikers, Matthew Hess in for South Hobart. Sorry for that brief interruption to take a phone call, but very little action a minute in. South Hobart with the only movement forward, and it was easily snuffed out by big Joey Zupo, the big Zupa Duper at the back. All over it. So a throw in, Matthew Lewis, who's operating out wide. Liam Quayle out of the starting lineup. Flicked on from Hall. Cut out from Smith, back through Alfred Hess. So Alfred and Matthew Hess both in the starting lineup today. This comes along. I said earlier I thought maybe Alfred was out of the starting lineup. No, he definitely is in there. Seemed to be playing less of that workhorse wing role that we've seen in the past. It looks like that's where Alex Walter will operate as it comes forward from Farrell to Walter. He runs at them and takes on Mulroney. Gets inside Mulroney, cuts back, and Giansopoulos is all over that one, swallows it on his chest, and immediately they'll look to counter-attack the Strikers. Long from Giansopoulos, onto the head of Brown, nods down, Hess picks it up, finds Morton, outstretched leg, cut off from Sison to Barnard, shifts wide to Stone. He'll be relishing the fact he's back out there, puts it out in front of Gorry. He's found a bit of room on Ludford, cuts inside, looks to nudge for Stone, it's cut off, and it's with Farrell. Out he goes, Walter now, through the legs of Mulroney, does enough to see it out. Frenetic stuff, a really fast-paced start here at Valley Road. Farrell Throws in, the Frenchman finds the feet of Walter, comes back for him, looks inside, turns back out the other way and scuffs it outside. Has a few choice words for his midfielders. Comes down the line, man is held up and Ludford bumps into him afterwards and Farrell will throw in again. Sorry for that brief break from commentary as Walter cuts in and fires off a shot. It fizzes and bounces into the arms of Giansopoulos. Gorry now looks to use his wheels on the outside and Brown cuts it out with a lunging effort. Throw in. Back inside and it's with Hess of a Alfred variety. Bobbles up in the air and they wrestle for possession. Matthew Hess leaps on it now on debut. Sends it down the line, a kick for touch and it'll be a turnover and in the possession of the ladder leading strikers. Down the line as well, cut in by Mann, but a foul in the process and it'll be a free kick for the visitors. Thrown down the line, off the head of Lazinski, cut out by Grattan. He finds his skipper, slid away from him by a former teammate in Hess. And Hess's ball is desperately kept in from Lewis. Finds Hall, looks to find Lazinski, nudges it enough to find Hess. This one's Alfred, but his ball finds no one but the outside fence, and it'll be a throw-in. Dom Smith to bring this one back into play. Smith down the line, won by Alfred Hess. In the air again, Sison gets enough on it to see it to Zupo. It's a nice long ball, direct. Almost finds Denehey. Key intervention from Farrell. Follows it up nicely away from Mann. Picks out Morton, nudged off it by Mulroney. Finds Sison and they'll call it back as Morton clattered into the back of Mulroney. We'll see this again. A blatant foul there, so it'll be a striker's set piece and they'll pile the bodies forward. Big Zupo's been just an enormous acquisition, both in height and talent, as it comes along and into the box. Straight to South Hobart through Brown, finds Morton, nudges to Hess, tricky footwork, sees him out of traffic, and he'll find Walter. Look to use his wheels, no, goes back for Farrell, holds things up a little to Alfred Hess. They've lost momentum here, South Hobart. I'm not sure that was the best option from Walter as Denehey hounds around. It's with Alfred Hess now. Switches it, finds Hall, off his boot, picks out Lewis with a spin and a turn. It's nice from Lewis, finds Hall into the box, and it's almost a chance. A nice ball in, and Morton fires wide with his head. We'll see the replay. Lovely stuff from Lewis. Beats a couple, finds Hall, who whips in. Morton, his shot never looked goalward, and it went well wide. So South Hobart looking better, certainly better than they did on Monday afternoon. Very rarely breached the box up against the Strikers on that occasion. Really had their way with it, frustrated South Hobart. Comes along off the boot of G1 Soplis, sits well for Denehey, but his touch is a shocker and it's out of play. Farrell throws in, flicked on from Lazinski. Well used from Morton to find Walter. He bursts into the box. G1 Soplis out to save. Finds Sison with a slapping motion. It's picked up from Mulroney to Stone with some razzle-dazzle. Finds Zupo. A nervy moment there from Devonport. Something South Hobart couldn't do. They just scythed into the box. And it was Walter with that pace. It seems a good move, putting him out on Mulroney's wing. He's caused a bit of trouble already in this encounter. He's cut in, but just so wise, this G1 Soplis. It was really, really nice save from the Canadian custodian. Throwing now. Lewis for Hall. Looks to nudge it back. It's blocked by Mann and away from Smith, but not for long as it comes back. Morton finds Lazinski. The big man gets round one in Sison and fires a fizzing drive high and wide of goal. A shot off target from the visitors as we remain at 0-0. We'll look at this, the best chance of the game so far. Walter, his touch was just a little bit too heavy. And G1 Soplis eager off his line and slapped it clear. Nicely done from the Canadian goalkeeper. On the outside is picked up from Mann. He nips in the middle and it's agriculturally dealt with by the debutant, Matthew Hess. Away it goes. Picked up from G1 Soplis and he kicks for touch over the dugouts and out of play. Long from Ludford, looking to go over that Devonport defensive line. Cut off with Grattan, and an eager beaver is Matthew Hess, and a foul, a real let-off for the Strikers. They'll have it again. So Zupo over the ball. Comes long. It's a fizzing ball, but unfortunately no one lays claim to it for the Strikers. Wilson, dressed in all orange, pumps long off the knee of Mulroney, and then Denehey can't control it. Devonport not really finding their groove in terms of in possession. Defensively looking sound as ever. It's picked up by Stone. He's a key mover when it comes to that fluency moving forward. Picked up from Morton to Lazinski. Keeps it moving wide. Now it's with Hall, who's with Smith. Zigzags and fires off across. Grattan clears. South Hobart in control of this contest, but Devonport still looking as stubborn as ever in defence. Need to get their midfield engines going though. Looking short of ideas moving forward as it comes into the box at the edge. Mulroney nods clear. Picked up from Matthew Hess. He loses it. Barnard pumps it forward. It's central and it should be cut off by Ludford. Rather panically gets it on the boot. Sison under it. Again, Matthew Hess rather. He picks it up. Does well with a touch to find Morton. He'll pick out Lazinski. Black shirts moving all over the place. Dom Smith doesn't deal with it. It's picked up from Hall from the right. Fires a shot and it's saved from Giansopoulos. A rare error from Smith. Lets in Hall. And it was saved from Giansopoulos and wide for a corner. It was just, it was like a... So the corner from Walter goes out of play and they'll have another. The amount of height in the box for Devonport should see them pretty trusty from an aerial threat. Matthew Hess waiting back, as to Darcy Hall. A little bit close to the box though, creeping at the edge of it. Comes in at the front post and sets for Hall, who fizzes a drive into the woodwork. Away it goes and they might come back. From Lewis, he lofts it into the box over the top of Brown. Sits for Morton, cuts inside. He's got blue shirts all around him and Sison is the key one and it's a foul against Morton. There's a few choice words for Copra, but can't say too much as he got too much of Sison and it'll be a free kick for the Strikers. We might have to see that fizzing thunderbolt off the boot of Hall. It came in from Walter. It was a corner. Ludford tried to deal with it. Came from Mann. Sat well for Hall and he just cracked a thunderbolt into the crossbar. And luckily for the Strikers, they escaped. They're really up against it at the moment. South Hobart in control of this contest. Wave after wave of attack. Stood up well so far with a little help from the crossbar on that occasion. This is picked up from Alfred Hess. Moved forward by his brother, looking for Walter. Cut off from Zupo. Kicks to the opposition defence. Lewis finds Lazinski. Flicks on. Zupo gets it to Stone. A heavy first touch lets in Walter. And then Hess, who chips it over the top. And away from Farrell. So it's a throw-in now. They look to get it moving quickly. Mulraney and then Brown ahead of Gorry. Sees it out. Down the line it comes, Gorry. He's found some space, puts a ball into the box, an outstretched leg from Ludford, a bicycle effort from Mann, and it fires wide. Better from the hosts, but that shot never really looked like finding a home in the back of the net. We'll see it again. Gorry puts the ball into the box, a leg from Ludford, and an acrobatic effort from Mann fires wide. Long it comes, flicked on from Lazinski. Grattan, down from Walter. Sison finds Stone, but he can't get it under his spell. Hess and then Brown just chips over the top for the Frenchman. He can't keep it. Mulraney sprays one wide. Might stay alive for them. Mann does enough to just watch it over. Off the boot of Ludford last, so a throw in. A quick throw. Finds Gorry. Gorry, a long ball, almost finds Denehey. He might have a couple of bites of this cherry. Over the top, sits for Barnard. No, Brown gets a head in. Alfred Hess kicks clear. Under it is Mulraney, looking for Gorry. Monday's goal scorer. He can't keep that one under control. And it's out of play for a Farrell throw-in. High intensity contest this one as Mulraney bustles in on Walter. The youngster somehow keeps it. In the end, Mann provides support. Heaved over the top and finds Gorry, who's offside. Comes long. Under it is Mulraney. Flicked by Morton. Cut off from Sison. Sison forward. Straight to Lewis. He couldn't pick out Denehey, but Sison gets involved again, and this time does find Denehey. Long from Smith. It's a long, direct, bouncing ball. A nice looking one, but Wilson anticipates it, collects at the edge of his area, and will look to ignite a South Hobart attack off his boot. A long, booming ball. Under it is Mulroney. Nudges it. Looking for Gorry. Farrell to Walter. Inside. Lazinski loses it. Sison bustles in. He keeps on going, Sison. Matthew Hess out wide. To Walter. Zips in and chips over the top. Giansopoulos there to swallow it. And he'll cannon clear with a big booming kick. He does. Long over halfway. Looking for Denehey. He's outmanoeuvred by Lewis, but it's still alive for him. He looks to use his toe. Lewis uses strength and runs away with it. Stone gets involved, but Lewis keeps the ball. Nicely done from the fullback. From Hess, the Hess is combined. It's Alfred to Matthew. Heavy touch lets in Denehey. It's up in the air. Comes down with snow, and Hess lays claim to it. Alfred this occasion comes long from Lewis. Out in front of Morton. Nicely done from Grattan. Might not have been intentional, but he cannons the ball into the legs of Morton, and it's out for a throw-in. Smith throws in, looking for Barnard. It's won by South Hobart. Now it's with Hall. A nice flick on from Lazinski. A golden opportunity for South Hobart. A vital intervention from Grattan. Smith scuffs it. It falls and Gorry lays claim to it. He does well, does Gorry, with a follow-up effort. A little too well, maybe. A little too much in the tackle. It'll be a set piece for South Hobart as they look to put their advantage in this contest on the scoreboard. You see that? There wasn't plenty in it. It's a golden opportunity. Morton and Lazinski counsel over it. I think this might be one for Albie Lazinski. We've seen him hit some thunderous free kicks in recent times. Darcy Hall, who had his colours lowered on Monday, has certainly been a real pest on the far side. Had Dom Smith's numbers so far. So Lazinski and Morton exchange a conversation. Lazinski, a curling ball. Giansopoulos, no troubles. Punches clear, and Grattan should clear further. He does. It's unfashionable, but it's out of play. So we see Lazinski, a shot. A double fist on hands and knees in the finish. And Grattan scurries clear. Thrown in from Farrell. Finds Matthew Hess, who's been not bad on debut. Walter with a head, can't pick out Hall. It's from Dom Smith to Mann. Burns off his former skipper. He's away now, Braden Mann. Finds Denehey. He fakes and shimmies. He's in trouble when it comes to muscle up against big Dan Brown. Dan Brown sees it out of play, and a throw in for the Strikers. Deep in attack in their front third. Comes in, and it's to Morton. He's at the races. He's in contest with Sison, who's been simply superb. Well, finds Darcy Hall unintentionally, though. He finds Lazinski. Lazinski with a ball out in front of everyone, except Giansopoulos, who lays claim. Throws out quickly, finds Gorry. Monday's goal scorer lets it move, but it runs away from him and out of play. Luke Farrell. In for Walter, who's been busy. Looks more comfortable out on the wing. Nudged inside by Farrell. It's with Stone. A long ball out on the right. Picks out Gorry deep in their attack. Oh, he slid into it. It's a vicious challenge from Brown. And a slice of cheese presented to him. And I've got to say, on first glance, it looks warranted. Gorry looked to use some tricky footwork, and Brown got the ball, but got a heap of Gorry. And a yellow ticket presented to the big South Hobart centre half. And now he has to walk the tightrope. So a free kick from the right flank. Braden Mann over it. He's been superb since returning to Devonport as captain. Really relished that leadership role. So over it is Man. Curling in. Crowded box. Headed away from Alfred Hess. It might just sit for Stone. He's got Lewis following him. He takes a bit of territory and puts it into the top of the 6-yard box. Nicely collected from James Wilson. Away it goes off the boot of the South Hobart goalkeeper. And Mulroney a little bit too touchy-feely with Morton, and it'll be a free kick for South Hobart. Taken quickly to Matthew Hess. He finds Lazinski out wide on the right. He'll pick out Hall, who's been a busy little bee. He's got Smith to deal with. In the end, it's very unfashionable by Denehey. Always takes a tumble to try and tackle. Goes back to Lewis and well blocked from Denehey. So out for a throw-in. Long throw in from Lewis at the edge of the box. It's chested from Hall. He keeps it alive. Mulroney under it. Nods it clear of the box, and then Stone gets a touch in, but he's got Hess with him. It'll be a throw in. Stoney with a big grin, big cheesy grin. Flicked on from Morton, a little bit too cute. Out of play this time. Farrell to throw in. Finds Walter. Sison cuts it out and finds Stone. Can't get by Alfred Hess. Sison slides in, and then Mulroney, he's clear, but only as far as Morton, who can take a strike. It's well wide, but it's a corner. Taken short from Morton. Matthew Hess, it just runs through him, and it's cleared now. Zupo commands the troops, as he always does. Gorry now looking to put a bit of pressure on Wilson. Wilson finds the Frenchman Farrell. Wider still. Finds Lewis. It's blocked from Stone, and away he looks to burst. The attacking midfielder puts it to the back post. It's Gorry! And it's a mess, to be honest, at the front post. Gorry. He stumbled as he looked to shape and shoot, and it just bobbled up and was collected by Wilson, but not all that convincingly. We'll have to have a look at the replay. It was absolutely comedic as Walter now on a burst in. Giansopoulos double fist saves. Lazinski with a shot blocked on the line. It's end-to-end stuff here at Valley Road, and Devonport escapes somehow. We've got a couple of replays to tee up there, Ash. Keep you busy. Tremendous stuff. We'll see this from Walter as a lamb-busting run down the right. Put in a save from Giansopoulos. The follow-up effort from Lazinski, blocked on the line from Grattan. Back again, though, with live action. Lazinski picks it up at the edge of the 18-yard box. Tries a shot. That one's not threatening Giansopoulos, who's been superb. And he'll have it. Kicks long with a stumble. It causes a bit of discomfort for Brown, but luckily Wilson's there to help him out. If we can get that replay at the other end, we'll see it here. Stone, it was good delivery. And yes, first touch on the right peg from Gorry, and then he took a tumble as he would have looked to swing that left peg through with a big strike. And Miles Barnard into the book. So yeah, Barnard on that occasion just holding up Matthew Hess and into the book. I think it was Morton, and then Lazinski had the follow-up. Picked up from Stone, he tries his trickery, but Alfred Hess is right up on him, and now it's Matthew, who shifts wide, finds Morton, to Darcy Hall, who's been a real nuisance out on that right flank. Just nips by Smith. Does enough to see it back off the byline. Block, though, from Grattan. Back in through Morton. And Giansopoulos, the ever-trusty Canadian, there to collect. Bombs long. They come down with snow on it. Picked up by Ludford. Down for Hess. The Hess connections worked well in midfield. He finds Matthew. Cut off as Darcy Hall looked to get going. Dom Smith shimmies and shakes and finds Denehey, who scoops over the top of the defensive line and to no one in particular out of play. As it comes long, Alfred Hess brings it down. Lazinski almost, and now it's all, but he kicks it straight to Mulroney. He's combatant from Monday. Picks it up. It's a shocker of a ball. He's really sprayed that one, Mulroney, and it's out of play. Deep in attack, though. They do gain yardage. And down the right-hand side. A throw in now. Matthew Hess kicks it into Stone, and Stone very cheekily tries to take a quick throw to try and convince the referee. Copra having none of it. It'll be a throw through Farrell. In for Morton. Finds Lazinski. Morton now looks to break away. Cut off from Sison. And heaved clear from Joe Zupo. Sison having some sort of afternoon. Just in there, and he just scraps and cuts out a lot of damaging efforts. It's nicely done from Walter, who outworks Mulroney. Nips back, finds Farrell. Farrell for Walter, back inside looking for the runner. Farrell, he's impeded by Gorry, and it's a set piece for South Hobart. Left of the box. Yeah, Gorry just holding up Farrell, and it will be a set piece. South Hobart on top of this contest, but yet to quantify that in terms of on the scoreboard. So if Devonport can just hang in there, they're good chance of taking something from this game. So the Mort Hog, Big Morton, out on the left. It's a shocker to the front post, and that threatens no one. That just skims wide. An absolute stinker, to be honest, from Morton. We'll see this again from the Big Mort Hog. It just flew wide. That's a shocker. And an opportunity going begging for the visitors. They really need to make the most of their chances on the road. Devonport, we know they don't need many chances to make the most of it. Walter nods this one out. It'll be a Devonport Strikers ball as they move down the right. Thrown in from Mulroney to Gorry. Looks out on the right and picks out Mulroney. And it's blocked from Farrell. Thrown in from Mulroney to Gorry again. This time he moves into midfield, and it's Grattan in the bullseye, who goes long and over the top to no one in particular, and Wilson has his name on it. Long it goes. Grattan anticipates it nicely and beats Morton to it. Sees it out just in front of the Devonport dugout. Very casual Peter Saville, just leaning up against the fence there. Thrown in from Lewis. Desperately done from Denehey, but he keeps it alive, and South Hobart have it back now. Lewis again finds Lazinski. Back for Matthew Hess to Alfred Hess, who found Farrell in space. He might just fancy himself with a shot. He dips it over the top. It's a chip, and plenty of Giansopoulos. Terrifically good work from South Hobart on the first occasion, and then secondly, Giansopoulos to deny. He scurried back, and it looked like it might just sneak in, but Giansopoulos palms it out. So a corner now. Morton over it. South Hobart all over Devonport here at Valley Road. Comes in and away through Mulroney. Back now. Lewis Finds Alfred Hess, can't keep it under his control. Barnard scurries clear. Lewis again. This one doesn't look goal-bound in any way, shape or form. But Morton keeps it in. Deep in the front third near the corner flag. It's into the box. Giansopoulos misses it. Luckily, no black shirts at the back post to punish. A slide from Hall, a terrific one. Picks it up and fashions a shot, and it's out of Zupo. And South Hobart continue to pose questions of this Devonport defence. How long can they answer them? As we see this great sliding tackle from Hall, nipped in, and it was delightfully done from the young South Hobart winger. So Alex Walter to bring it in from the left. South Hobart's troubles in the past 2 games have been creating chances against this team. It's certainly not their issue today, as it comes in from Walter over the top. Away now, and it sits. Farrell will have it. Finds Walter. He'll try some nice footwork. He's got Stone, who's partial to some footwork of his own. He wins it back, and it's pumped long. Hess all over it. Nudges into the path of Lewis. He's been good so far. A long ball. Brown stroll forward. He'll have no involvement as it goes straight to Giansopoulos, who's been great, been outstanding in fact. Comes along. Alfred Hess wins in the air and finds Hall. He's really enjoyed his own work out on that right-hand side, being good. Looks to find Morton. A sliding effort from Sison. He's been the pick of their midfield. Away it comes again, this time through Alfred Hess. Ping-pong back from that Devonport defence, looking to hold firm. Lazinski finds Morton. It's cut off for a second. It's a curling effort. A superb one from Walter. And it forces a tremendous save from Giansopoulos. Again, he answers the question that South Hobart poses. A throw in from Farrell. Comes from Lazinski. Sits for a shot, and it's wide. And wide of the reach to Giansopoulos, who would have had it covered. Giansopoulos is having some sort of game. So we see that effort from Matthew Hess. A delightful strike. We might just get a replay of the one before it. It is certainly to feature in Spec Saves of the Week. It was cut off from Barnard rather, and it came to Walter. It's a beautiful curling effort that looked likely to nestle in the bottom right corner, but Giansopoulos plucked it out. Did very, very well as we tick into the 36th minute here at Valley Road, the home of the cup holders and the current ladder leaders, Devonport Strikers. Comes long. Picked up from Mulroney. Inside. Barnard moves it forward. And Wilson collects at the edge of his area. Pump long from Wilson. Under it is Hall. He finds Lewis. Scuffs his effort. Works out all right for him. Puts it out onto the right. Hall, who's been a busy player in this first stanza. This time Grattan's up on him and sees it out of play. Thrown in out. Hall loses it. Man has a piece of it and is cut down, so it'll be a let-off for the Strikers. Few with hands on hips. They've been made to work hard in this first half. South Hobart continue to attack. Joe Zupo barking directions. He's asking for more from the Devonport Strikers. They've certainly stood up well to the threat that South Hobart continue to pose, but they've looked bereft of ideas and composure moving forward. They've really struggled. They haven't kept possession all that well. They certainly didn't in the cup either, but their defence was just so stern that it didn't matter on that day. That South Hobart weren't creating chances of their own, but they certainly have so far today. Comes along, one in the air from Alfred Hess. Zupo lays claim to it. A long booming ball over the top of the defensive line. Gorry up against Wilson, and Wilson first to it, swallows it. And he'll take his advantage. Pumps long, Lazinski, first to it, misses it. Grattan gets involved, but not enough to stop South Hobart as it's out on the right-hand side with Hall. He nips inside, beats one, beats two. Out in front of Lazinski, will he get to it first or will Giansopoulos? Giansopoulos does well. Put to into the 6-yard box. It's Zupo there to save the day. Devonport might just ignite a counter-attack here. No, they don't. Desperate stuff from Brown. Finds Hall. Hall out on the right. Back inside for Alfred Hess. He's looking for the bomb on of Lewis. Smith watches it out. And luckily, Lewis can only do enough to see it out. So we see this almost moment. G1 Denehey just worried Lazinski off it a little bit. He played his role, and then when it was put back into the 6-yard box, Zupo was all over it. Thrown in now from Lewis. Picked up from Lazinski. It's a poor chest that sees it out, and Devonport will suck in as many breaths as time allows as they look to try and create something. They haven't crafted too much. A couple of decent chances, but they've just had so little possession. They haven't been able to get their game going, really. Long from G1 Denehey, approaching halfway. And it's over the top of everyone in the end, and all Farrell can do is help it out with a nice little nod. So, up here at Valley Road, the fortress for the Devonport Strikers. They haven't played their best football so far this afternoon. Scooped over the top from Mulroney. Brown first to it. Denehey nips on the outside though. He'll be forced to keep it alive. Unfortunately, Denehey a bit too eager. Gets a piece of South Hobart in the process through Brown. Will be a set piece deep in defence. Long it comes from Farrell in midfield. Barnard puts it over the top, and Denehey's onside here. He cannons a cross or a shot, whatever it was, it didn't work, and it went wide. Sees again, he opted to take it on the volley. Maybe didn't know how much time he actually had there, Denehey, and they would have liked to do more with that one. South back in possession through Lazinski. Cut off from Stone with a bit of help from Mulroney. Helps to go back to his defence. He may have ran into trouble here, Stone. Somehow finds a way out, but only as far as Alfred Hess. Farrell, Big Feral TV. Out on the left, it's Morton to the front post, and G1 Denehey swallows it. He's been superb. Player of the match so far. Mulroney first to it, ahead of Morton, and he cannons it onto the top of the Gordon Rimmer stand here at Valley Road.
Come on, let's do something!
Thrown in from Farrell. Ball hasn't nipped off him by Mulroney. Man looking for Mulroney, who's kept on running, but Lunford over first to it, to Wilson. A little nervily nudges it out of his defence and only finds Barnard, who only opts to head. Maybe should have controlled that. And he finds Mulroney, who's offside. Comes long over the head of Lazinski. Morton picks it up, but Zupo nudges him aside and says, thank you very much. Finds Sison. Puts out on the left flank for Denehey. Denehey, the ball bobbles up perfectly for him off the turf. He'll fire wide. So Devonport looking a little more adventurous. 42 and change gone here at Valley Road. South Hobart well in control of the contest, but the scoreboard sits square, a stalemate, 0-0. Wilson, long, under it is Walter, flicked on, and it's out of play off his head. Be a Devonport ball. We'll see this one again, just straight out of play. Mulroney looking for Barnard. His head doesn't do much. Picked up again by South Hobart, but Sison cuts it out as he so often does. Denehey, a nice head inside, picks out Stone. He finds Man. Man loses it. Lewis picks it up. Finds Hall. Hall look to use his zip. He's got Smith for company. And Braden Mann's worked back terrifically well to provide great support. Picks it up and clears. Nicely done from the skipper. Pump long from the boot of Wilson. Oh, Darcy Hall controls nicely, puts it into the box. It's there for Walter. He nips back and it's off the right upright. Devonport, how are they 0-0? And it looks like someone's in a spot of bother here. Looks like it might be Sison. Down, he looks in some discomfort. Not sure what went on there. We'll see this as it was Walter again, who's had a couple of glorious chances. This one was nicely nudged, to be honest. Morton avoided it nicely, and it came off that right upright fortuitously for the hosts. I'm not sure how it's 0-0 here as we sit on the embers of the opening half. South Hobart have been well on top. Comes along from Giansopoulos. Sison looks to have recovered. One wonders whether he caught one in the whether it was the goal frame he ran into or what happened there for Sison, but he looks okay now. Comes along from Wilson. Picked up from Smith. Nudged ahead from Loic Farrell. He'll find Morton. Can't get by Sison, who's a pillar of strength in defensive midfield. Then does well to win it off the back of Walter. Daniel Sison, been terrific. Long it comes, down the line. Gorry loses it. Walter lays claim. Puts it in for the debutant, Matthew Hess, who gives back for Walter. A sloppy touch lets in Man. Man, he's chopped into it a couple of times, and then Man has a little nudge, has a bit of afters, and Cockerell had a chat to him. Yeah, Walter with a couple of little involvements there he probably didn't have to make, to be perfectly honest. Old teammates and a few choice words. So Zupo over the set piece and they pile the bodies forward. Wouldn't this be just a massive sucker punch? Long it comes from Zupo. Barnard, it almost sits for him and seen clear from Ludford. Walter misses it and Sison will pick this one up. Turns on a 20-cent piece. Loses it though. Oh, vital intervention again though. Does well to just make sure there was no worries there, and Stone goes back for Giansopoulos. Long it comes from Nicky G. Under it is Ludford. We'll find Matty Hess. Looking forward. First to it was Grattan ahead of Morton, but Morton wins it back and finds Darcy Hall, who's burnt off Dom Smith. He puts it to the back post. Walter heads wide. It's a fairly lame effort with the head. Well wide of goal. didn't look like finding a home in the back of the old onion bag. And we're deep into added time in the opening half, in this top of the table clash. So yeah, look, met it nicely, got good contact, but directionally speaking, it was never finding a home in the back of that net. But another good chance for South Hobart. They've had plenty. The last 2 games against Devonport, you could count them on one hand, the amount of chances they've had. They've had plenty today. A foul against Mulroney. He bundles into Hess, who bundles into Stone. He was the meat in the Devonport sandwich there. And it's out for a throw-in. A set piece. And there'll be Walter over it. Walter into the box, over the top. Might sit for Hall, it doesn't. And it's out for a goal kick, and that is half-time here at Valley Road. I'll have to have a look at the statistics on that opening half, but South Hobart owned it. Absolutely owned it. Everything but the scoreboard. Devonport strikers battled away. Stubborn in defence, held them off, but it definitely was a half that belonged to South Hobart. 13 shots on, 4 shots off for the visitors. That is commanding in terms of statistics, while just the 2 shots off for the hosts. So it paints a fairly bleak picture of an opening half. And we might just have a look at the first half highlights, just to go through the dominance of South Hobart. Second on the table, they've come here looking for a bit of revenge from the Seljet Cup. It was one of their shots on. One of the rare movements forward for Devonport. But South Hobart defence has been pretty good. Walter with a fishing drive. Both their wingmen have been very, very good. I think they've troubled them. I think Alex Walter's move onto the left wing has been a superb one from master tactician Ken Morton. Luke Farrell's been busy on this flank. Been piling forward. And to be fair, Lewis has been good at fullback. He's naturally a centre half, and we see one of his nice moments here. Unlocked it, found Hall, and Morton nudged wide with his noggin. Here's Walter, who beat Zupo, but couldn't beat Gene Soplis. And then Sison was there to cut it out ahead of Lazinski. Well, that's just a blast over the bar, to be honest. That was never threatening. Darcy Hall been a real nuisance out on that right flank. Of course, Dom Smith all sorts of trouble with his pace. We see a few of his chances. That one was a nice save from Gene Soplis. This was, from memory, one of South Hobart's biggest chances of the game. Yeah, it was. But it wasn't from much, apart from just a blistering strike from Darcy Hall. The Woodworks saved Devonport on that occasion. And they tried to craft a few things. There was a shot wide from Braden Mann. A delightful chip over the top to nobody there from Walter. You see from just the weight of numbers in terms of the amount of these highlights that are up that end of the pitch. Here was one from Lazinski that was dealt with comfortably from Giannopoulos, who's the player of the first half, to be honest. There was a yellow ticket for Dan Brown. Seen clear from Hess. And here was a strike from Morton wide. This was probably Devonport's best chance of the half. Fell for Gorry. It was a nice breakaway from Stone, but the stumble killed them. And here's one of Giannopoulos' nice involvements. Lazinski back with a second effort, cut off on the line by Zupo. Here's another one. Giannopoulos again. The amount of balls they've put into the box is quite startling for Devonport. That was a cheeky little effort from Loic Farrell, the Frenchman, and was well saved from Giannopoulos. That was a tremendous sliding tackle from Darcy Hall, who's had some first half. And here was another almost moment. This time, beautiful curling strike from Walter, well saved from Giannopoulos. Another one he watched wide from the boot of Matthew Hess, the debutant. This one, first two, just forced Lazinski to the byline, came back and blocked off the line from Zupo. And Denehey fell for him and he flashed a shot well wide to the left. Morton, he's been busy. He's been very busy. That one was easily swallowed. Denehey blasted over. And Walter almost found the bottom corner, if not for the right upright. Walter again, this time heading wide to the left. So great at first half from Alex Walter, who's looked great on this left wing. They're the highlights of the opening half. A half that belongs to South Hobart in terms of possession and play. But unfortunately for them, on the scoreline, it sits level pegging 0-0. We'll be back for the second half shortly. Do stay with us. Well, we're back for the second half here from Valley Road. 0-0 somehow is what everyone's pretty much thinking, because South Hobart completely dominated that first half. Devonport very disappointing, but luckily for them, they've got 45 minutes to turn around, and even more lucky for them, it's 0-0 somehow. Straight away, Stone takes it upon himself to get it moving, and it's handled by Matthew Hess and will be a striker's ball. Stone looking to really attack the ball game, as is his style. So a set piece for them, somehow tantalising top of the table tussle this one. And to be honest, the first half completely dominated by South Hobart in all facets except the scoreboard. 0-0. Devonport can really, if they could start the half in a golden way here, land a sucker punch. The ball comes in from Mann, sits for Stone, puts it back in the area, sits up, and Denehey matches it home! It's a goal! The Strikers! Oh my, they were completely outplayed, outclassed for 45 minutes, a minute into the second half, and they fortuitously find the back of the net and take the advantage. Stone just put it back into the mixer. It bounced over the top, and Denehey's just nudged it into the back of the net. Wilson, unawares, thought Denehey was offside. He didn't look it, and it's 1-0 here at Valley Road. Oh, South Hobart will be furious on the bench. They've completely battered Devonport, and now they've got to chase the game. Morton to Hess to Lewis. Cut off from Denehey for an instant, the goal scorer, Brodie Denehey, who's scored a few this season. That one might just be the best yet in terms of what it means for their season. They've been dreadful so far this afternoon, but they have a lead. Free kick now for South Hobart from Walter to Farrell to Hall. Back for Walter. In for Farrell. Nudges it out. Walter zigzags. He's got Gorry for company. Puts a ball into the box. Grattan heads clear. Barnard bustles in. Hess helps it South Hobart's way, and Walter will pick it up. Fashions an effort. Falls for Hess, and it's a bouncing ball that falls wide. So Brodie Denehey gives the Strikers a valuable lead. Mere seconds into the second stanza. Somehow this game is 1-0 to the hosts. South Hobart had about 13 chances in the opening half, and Devonport have had one real chance and taken it. Back again with action, and swept clear by Ludford ahead of the Devonport attack. Giansopoulos with a goal kick. Goes along off the head of Walter. It's in midfield. Sison wins and finds Denehey. He brings it down. A nice through ball. He'll find Man. Man into the box. Lewis. Nice defence. Cuts it out and it's a corner for the hosts. If they go 2-0 here, South Hobart are the most unlucky team in history. A corner now. Braden Mann. They couldn't, could they? They couldn't make it 2-0 as it comes along. Into the box, headed clear from Hess. Lazinski should be able to make sure of it. He does. Sprays it forward. Denehey does enough to nudge it out. I'll tell you what, he took the gamble there. Throw in from Morton. In for Walter. Nudges it back into the path of the big Mort hog. Ping-pongs around. He's still got it, Morton. Gorry looks to get it moving, but can only find South Hobart's French fullback, Loic Farrell. And Mulroney picks it up, loses it. Morton harassing out on that far side. Picked up by Farrell. Sits for Hall, who blasts over the bar and out of play. So Giansopoulos over this ball. Long it goes, beyond halfway. It sits. Ludford doesn't control it. A man over the top. It sits high on Denehey. He can't bring it under his spell. And Lewis clears. Hall tries to keep it alive, but the line beats him. Out for a striker's throw. Smith down the line, flicked on from Denehey. Kept alive by Stone. We haven't seen much razzle-dazzle from Big Joel Stone. Denehey again looks to use the line. It's his ally, says it out of play and milks the throw. Finds Stone, completely outworks Lewis. Enough to find room to cross. Oh, it goes to the back post. No one home in a blue shirt, and Farrell picks it up. Back through Mulroney to Gorry. Gorry into the box. It's acrobatic from Man. I don't think it was ever going to end in a goal, but it looked nice. And out for a corner. Gorry put it into the box, and Man with arms and legs all over the spot. I don't know what he was doing there, but it was fancy. Taken short the corner. From Man to Gorry, blocked and out again for another. Striker's ball from the right. Braden Mann over it. Former South Hobart spearhead. Now home at the Strikers and leading this team to glory. It's a shocker off his boot. Flicked on from Mulroney and they scurry clear now South Hobart through Farrell. Brody Denehey back in support. He'll play it long and wide and out to the right. Man under it, nudges it forward looking for Gorry. Brown wins, finds Farrell. Mulroney, no nonsense, sees it out of play. So Farrell down the line. Mulroney in ahead of Morton. Wins the header. It'll bounce away from Brown. All he can do is put it out for a corner. If not for a foul coming from Man, who was quick to react and quick to defend himself, which usually is a telltale sign you've done something wrong. Yeah, that's a foul. Braden Mann knew it, I think, trying to defend it because the corner would have been awfully handy for the ladder leading Strikers. It comes along from Wilson, one in the air by Mulroney. Oh, it's misjudged horribly by Brown. It's picked up for an instant by Man, who finds Gorry, who's fouled by Matthew Hess. And he's shown a slice of cheese, Matthew Hess. debuting today. He's been pretty good. But that one might be costly as they pile the big bodies forward. Big Joe Zupo. He'll want to get his name on this one. There's also Mulroney and Barnard. Grattan staying back. So Braden Man over it. Scored from a set piece in a similar position against Zebras a fortnight ago. Just got through a sea of legs and found a home in the net. He wouldn't mind similar. So Braden Man, the skipper. It's a fizzing ball into the head of a big group of players. I think it was Mulroney who did well to get a boot to it. It was. And it's wide and high. So South Hobart, who have to chase this game despite absolutely dominating the bulk of it. Comes along, Mulroney nudges it, looking for Man, picked up from Gorry, back inside, cut off from Brown. Gorry picks it up. He's got Farrell harassing, gets it through to Man with a spin, or almost for for Devonport rather. It was looking really, really nice, but now might just turn for South Hobart. Morton miscues a rare ball. It's picked up from Devonport and it's with Stone. He can't beat Lewis. Now it's with Hall, who does well to beat a couple and put it inside. Barnard picks it up, bustles in, finds Denehey, who's fouled. Keeps going though, Denehey. And in the end, it's out for a throw. Dom Smith to bring it in. Down the line he goes. Picked up from Denehey, and Stone unintentionally helps it out. So Stone taking his time to get back in the action. Lewis down the line, Lazinski flicks on. Helped further by Morton. Up in the air, Zupo goes. Won by Denehey. Grattan clatters in. Blocked well by Matthew Hess. Zupo, no one blocking that one. It falls for Alfred Hess, who unintentionally handles it. That's a let-off. And it means the ball will move Devonport's way. Man over it. Looking for Mulroney. Does well, keeps it alive. Barnard, can he keep it alive at the line? No, he can't. So Wilson watches it over and it'll be a goal kick. In a hurry is Wilson. Cannon's long. Approaching halfway. Skims off the head of Walter. A foot race between Morton and Mulroney. Mulroney uses his muscle, but unfortunately somehow gives it back to Morton. Morton looks to beat a couple. Can't beat Big Zupo. Best defender in the league. Looks to kick it long. Cut off and nudged inside. From Brown to Farrell. To Walter, who loses it. Stone comes in hard. A good tackle from Stone, but not enough to get it off South Hobart. The skipper, Ludford. Man comes in late. And it's a silly foul from Man, and it's back with the black shirts of South Hobart. Wide from Matty Hess. He finds Hall. Smith gets a touch, gets another. Hall keeps it deep. He puts a ball into the box. It troubles Giansopoulos with a rare fumble, but Lazinski can't put it in the back of the net. Hall zipped a ball into the box, coming from the right. As we see this, super slow-mo. Bounced up awkwardly for Giansopoulos and it slipped out of his hands. I think Zupo was the first to react and shielded it, and yes, he was. He nudged it wide, so there's his countryman to thank for that one. Walter into the box. Grattan's head sees clear, and as far as Lewis, who puts it back in. Zupo onto it. Back again from Lewis. Flicked on from Brown. Sison over the back. Gets it clear, and it's an awkward one for Farrell to deal with. He does well enough to find Wilson. Wilson long and strong. A high ball picks out Walter. Nice first touch. Lets in his skipper, who finds the co-skipper in Brown. Out wide, they shift it with Morton. Morton for Farrell, who's been adventurous today. Finds Lazinski in a bit of rare space. He puts it back for Farrell over the top. Headed clear from Zupo and then headed out for a corner by Grattan. So they see it clear, but it's still in South Hobart's attacking area. They've got to chase this game, the Southerners. It's Morton over it. This game is almost an hour old now. It is, as we tick over the hour mark. put in by Farrell. This one swallowed Giansopoulos. That last fumble only showed he was human. He's been very, very sound in goal today. Giansopoulos long, shielded by Farrell, but he can't stop Stone, who's marauding forward down the right. A good run from Stone, maybe a little bit too much as he looks to beat Lewis. South Hobart escape now. Maybe the early ball was on for Stone. It's often the question asked about Joel Stone. Does he just try to do too much? But he's good, he's very good. Lewis looks to clear the danger. It's off the back of a teammate and Alfred Hess, picked up by Farrell. Out. Freddie Hess helps it down the line from Hall to Walter. He looks to turn and burst. Mulroney comes in and wins. He'll get a bit of help from Barnard now, but he can't see it clear of South Hobart danger. Blocked from Mann, away from Matty Hess and back with the South defence. So nicely done there from Mann. Walter now, might have just unlocked things. Put it out on the left. It's kept alive from Hall. He zigzags on Mulroney. Does him all ends up, but the shot is found wanting. It's wide and very nearly a corner. Walter picks it up. Finds Darcy Hall, his fellow wingman. He's got Smith to run out. He's done well to get on the outside of him. Smith's still there, corralling him. He goes back for Lewis, who's been good. His first touch, not his best though. And Denehey does well. Slides in and wins back. Thrown in now. Comes back from Morton to Lewis to Hall now, who puts a ball in the box. It's an awkward one. Zupo again there to see it clear. Nice body work from Mann. He might just get away from Farrell. Bursts away. Brown finds Farrell. To Alfred Hess. Stone providing pressure. Back as the Hesses combine. They might have just unlocked things on the left-hand side here as Walter finds Farrell, looks to return the favour, and Mulroney slides in and clears for a throw-in. Score update from down south. It's 2-1 to the host Kimber Lions over the title chasing Hobart Jeep Zebras. Thrown in now, Loic Farrell into the box. Nicely done from Lazinski, but just too many blue shirts around him in the finish. Picked up from Mann. Long ball forward, cut off from Ludford. In midfield, Matthew Hess finds it. Goes wide, picks out Hall. The edge of the box. It's just dinked over the top from Lazinski. Nicely done, looking for Matthew Hess, and Syson, as he always seems to be, sees out for a corner. So it's a corner here for the visitors. Into the front post, seen clear off the boot of Alfred Hess. Bowls up on Lewis. Does well to almost find Ludford. Headed clear from Mulroney. Back in almost from Walter. Ping-pongs around between both sets of legs. Those of Mulroney and Walter. Mulroney uses his strength in the end and then helps it out off the South Hobart winger. Devonport ball. Looks like there might be a bit of clarity in the eye. South Hobart aren't mucking around. Time to make a change. The debutant Matthew Hess to depart, and on comes Liam Quayle. So Liam Quayle, who's been in tremendous form this season, both on the wing and at full back, came out of this starting lineup. Be interested to see what he does now. So Walter will move into midfield, and Quayle will operate wide on the left. Thrown in. It's in midfield. Morton keeps alive with the back of his boot. Cannon clear from Grattan. And it bounces away from Gorry. Thrown in. Alfred Hess on the ball now. Forward for Quayle, the substitute. Does well. finds Farrell, almost finds Lazinski. Gorry wins back, and he's fouled in the process, so it'll be a Devonport ball. Helped up in the air by Lewis. They sit under it. Sison wins it. Almost won back by Stone. Lazinski breaks away, goes wide and finds Hall, who nudges a ball, looking for Quayle. And it's desperate defence. And just enough from Mulroney to see it wide and out of play. It was Quayle who was coming in with a desperate head. A sliding, diving header. But Mulroney's boot was first to it and saw it wide. So corner now for South Hobart. There's still a goal adrift of the hosts, the ladder leading, cup holding Devonport Strikers. Comes into the front post from Morton's boot. Headed clear from Mulroney. Hall very nearly levels this game. We see this one again. Tries a strike. It dips, but not quite enough as it goes over the bar and out of play. And a glorious hit there from Darcy Hall. Cries for a corner, and they might have had a fair case with Giansopoulos getting up. It looked like he almost palmed that one over the bar. Comes along, Brown wins in the air ahead of Barnard. Lazinski nudges it forward, cut off from Smith. Man now, puts it through, but it's all South Hobart, and it'll be James Wilson who will have this all on his own. Through it goes. Sison finds Gorry. Gorry chips along. Brown can't see it clear. Nudges in the path of Man. A heavy first touch from Sison. Isn't cleared from Lewis, and a shot rattled off from Stone, but it was handled in the process. It was off the hand of Sison, so it'll be a free kick for South Hobart. Who aren't quite at panic stations, but they're not far off. Lost the cup on Monday. They'd hate to fall 5 points adrift in the title race. As it comes along from Wilson. Out from Mulroney ahead of Quayle. Quayle puts a ball from the left wing and it hits the side netting and will be a goal kick. So Devonport just weathered an absolute storm in the first half. 13 shots on target in what was a real masterclass from South Hobart in everything but finishing. And perhaps only got themselves to blame. They should have at least put one in the back of the net, if not 3 or 4. And could have really had this game by the scruff of the neck. Left the door ajar, and Devonport crept their way in and have a lead. Stone now spins with it. Finds Denehey. Can he unlock this defence? Lofts over the top. Falls a man! It home! Devonport double their lead! Oh, he's offside. He's offside. That is a bitter blow for the hosts. The linesman looks absolutely confident. We'll see this one again. I thought it was a delightful ball. He looks onside. He's well onside from this angle. My oh my. I think that was onside. The angle not the best, but I tell you what, it looked onside. It was a delightful ball. Man was furious. I thought he timed his run pretty perfect. Could that really hurt them? Comes along. Picked up from Farrell. It's in midfield. Walter finds Denehey. This ball over the top, cut off from Brown. Denehey again. He's running at him. Little Terrier gets out on the left into the box. Holds it up nicely. He's got a couple for company. Numbers win out through Lewis. Quayle away. And out of play. I wouldn't mind seeing another replay of that, Ashworks, if we can get her up. Here we are again, Denehey. A lovely ball, I thought. From this angle, when he kicked it, he was well onside. And that's all that matters, when the ball leaves the boot. I don't know how he's offside there. He's in an offside position when he hit it, but not when the ball was played to him. Comes long. Won by Grattan. Cut inside from Denehey. Under it is Lloyd Farrell. Sison wide. Picked up by Farrell. He's at the races. Plays forward. And Hall zips inside. Looks to find Quayle. It just eludes the young fullback come winger. And Giansopoulos picks it up and collects. The ball comes long and finds Gorry. He's found Barnard, who doesn't quite lay claim to it. It's picked up from Brown to Ludford. He manages to get a piece of Devonport as he kicks it out of play. So throw it in. A foul throw. It's a foul throw from the Frenchman. You don't see too many of them, so it'll be a Devonport ball. Lloyd Farrell wasn't happy, but he was a bit lacklustre. I might have to see that one again. Frenchman filthy. So it's a Mulroney throw in. Devonport have a lead. Could have easily been 2-0 if not for offside. Controversial call. Sison does well, helps it into the path of Gorry. Gorry looks to cut it through. Cut off from Hess. Back now for Sison. A heavy first touch, but does enough to steer it into the box. Wilson high and does well. Swallows this one. Ahead of Denehey. Devonport, that goal certainly energised them early in the second stanza. Picked up from Smith. Quayle harass. And it's out off Devonport. Probably should have done better with that young Dom Smith. He's invited pressure on Devonport here. Throwing comes in from Hall. He might be first to it again. His own ball. Grattan across. Strong as an ox. Wins. Forward from Mann and misses his target and is out of play. So Lewis to bring it in. Thrown in to Quayle. To Lazinski. Back for Quayle. The byline cuts it back. Zupo. Clear. Only as far as Walter. In the air. Won by Barnard. Mann will have it. Just kicks forward. Kicks for touch. Brown will be first to it. Back for his keeper in Wilson. Nudges across and finds Farrell. Stone harassing and chasing. Farrell down the line. Picks out Hall into midfield. It's Sison again. Chops it out. He's done it all day. Receives back from Stone to Sison. Puts it forward out on the right. It'll be Ludford, who will watch it into the hands of his goalkeeper. Forward it goes. Mulroney wins in the air. Sison high. It's squeezed between two heads and out of play. This will be a South Hobart throw. An update from down at the Den. 2-2. So Zebras, who were 2 goals adrift at half time, are now 2-2. Some nice interplay here between Morton and Lazinski. The return ball doesn't find Lazinski though, as Zupo snuffs it out. They're back again though, South Hobart. Morton cut off by a Zupa Duper. He has been sublime at the back. The big Canadian leader. There'll be a corner now. Morton over it. They continue to prod away, South Hobart, as we're into the 75th minute here at Valley Road. A goal would be invaluable for their case. Comes in over the top for Brown. Nods it back into the centre. It's saved somehow from Giansopoulos. The follow-up header looked like finding goal. It's a throw out from Giansopoulos. A heavy first touch from Mann. The second one sees it through. He's got no support and he's not happy about the treatment, but Copra's not helping. He's giving him nothing. We might just see a replay of that. Giansopoulos again. Came in, it was Brown that nodded it back into the centre. And the follow-up was Alfred Hess. It was a low header. And Giansopoulos just got his body in the way. It wasn't all that pretty from Giansopoulos. It wasn't a sprawling, diving effort. It was just get the body in the way, and it worked. So a free kick now for the Strikers. The breakaway looked like it might be a damaging one for the hosts, but Braden Mann's touch wasn't a great one. They've got the ball still though. Mann still probably a bit aggrieved that he hasn't got a goal to his name. Mann, ball into the box, bodies everywhere. Wilson out, collects, falls down on fumbles, but no one around in a blue shirt to pay. We'll see that one again in. Nicely done in the air there, James Wilson. Maybe a knock of his is under the high ball, but he's done well there. Sison helps it clear. Only as far as Hess, Alfred Hess. Matthew Hess already being substituted. Picked up from Lazinski. Back in the path of Farrell. Farrell into the middle. No one over the back but Devonport. And it's Dom Smith. Dom Smith long and inside. Looking for Mann. Walter first to it. Finds Lewis. To Quayle. Back for Walter. Cut off from Barnard. And then Lewis across to his skipper. Back from Ludford, and then Stone picks it up and uses his goalkeeper, who's straight on the boot. Looks for Mann, Mann nudges it. Denehey now, first touch is a shocker. It's blocked from Denehey off Wilson. Could have almost been another chance for Devonport, but they get clear somehow, South Hobart. And it's kicked out from Hess as Denehey, it looks like that deflected shot from himself hurt him. The first touch, if it wasn't for that, you would have thought, or he's caught one right in the midriff there. I reckon he's a bit sore. He looked to run in and laid claim to the free ball in the penalty area, but Brown was first to it. I reckon he has the wind out of his sails there, Brodie Denehey. Could have. It was a golden opportunity, really. We've seen it a lot from Devonport this season. Denehey on the break. It was pretty much trademark Devonport when they're at their best. Mulroney, good body pressure, wins it back, forward. His possessions found wanting and finds Brown. Back the other way, Alfred Hess to Lazinski. Nudges back. Stone pressuring and Sison. Of course it's Sison. And it's out off Morton. And out for a striker's throw. As we tick close to 80 minutes. We're in the 78th as it is. Not long left in this contest. Down the line it goes. And out off the South Hobart head. So rinse and repeat. Substitution on the way. It looks like Pajari Sculthorpe will be introduced. And off goes Darcy Hall, who had a tremendous first half in everything but finishing. And on comes the big beast that is Pajari Sculthorpe. Believe it or not, I think he's only about 17 and he's solid as an ox. Thrown down the line. Off the head of Barnard. It was more the face of Barnard. Picked up from South Hobart. And it's Lazinski. Dom Smith, an unconvincing header. It sits all right for Quayle. Quayle out on the right flank. Looks to cut it back, and Dom Smith makes up for maybe a bit of a lackluster clearing effort and sees it out of play. So a throw in now. Thrown in. It's with Walter. Walter. And clear by Smith. Under is Farrell. Back to the edge of the box. Helped further by Lazinski. Dom Smith can only find Morton out on the right flank. A menacing cross or shot was it. Giansopoulos clears with a punch. Sison looks to deal with it. It's still in attacking areas for South Hobart. In the end, Morton nudges it out of play. And it'll be a Devonport ball. So they continue to stand up to this immense South Hobart pressure. Wave after wave after wave. This could be, well, I'd say another character-defining effort from Devonport, but they've produced many similar ones so far this season. As is so often the case, Peter Saville yet to go to the bench. Hates a substitution as it comes along from Giansopoulos. Under it is Barnard and Brown. It comes back from Ludford. Picks out Mulroney. A sloppy effort from him. Grattan in first. Deflected off Sculthorpe. Morton back for Hess, who runs at them out on the left. Deflected off Sison and helped out by Mulroney. I think he was looking to avoid a corner. He can't as he slips and sends it out. So a corner now for South Hobart. They're 9th of the game, so they're starting to really stack up. They're yet to get anything from it. Lazinski over it from the left. Lofts it in. It's a menacing corner. Giansopoulos, superb. First he flapped at it, and then he somehow gathered off the chest of Sculthorpe. He got a piece of it here just to swat it away, and then Sculthorpe was looking to pick it up. Giansopoulos all over it. Picks it up. Long from Gorry. A bouncing ball into South Hobart's box now, and it's out through Lewis. An update from down at the Den. Hobart Zebras have taken a lead, so they were 2-0 down at half-time, now 3-2 up. So quite the turnaround down at the Den. Joel Stone tries some fireworks out on the right, and it runs out off his boot and out for a South Hobart goal kick. Wilson over the ball. Such a gutsy team, this Devonport team. Can they hold out 10 more minutes of pure attack from South Hobart? Grattan, he's forward. Flicked on from Denehey. Will it get over the top? There's a boot on it from Ludford. Lewis does enough to help it out. So they do enough just to cut off that attack for an instant. Throw in still though for the Strikers. A healthy crowd in attendance watching this top of the table tussle. Thrown in from Mann. Picked up from Hess. Gets through the legs of Mann. Lewis clears. One in the air by Smith. It's in midfield and it's a foot race. One that Walter was always destined to win. Beats Barnard to it and finds Lazinski. He's got the muscle on Mulroney. Finds Morton. Morton out on the left. Almost finds Lazinski. Doesn't do enough to keep hold of it. Gorry now picks it up. Plays long. Cut off from Ludford. He'll find Brown. Brown to Farrell. Gorry with a touch, and then Lazinski tries to keep it alive, but can only kick it out. It'll be Devonport ball once more as we're inside 83 minutes here at Valley Road. Can they stand 7 more minutes and change? Morton steals off Sison, tries an early strike. You won't catch Nico off with that one. Giansopoulos has been superb today. Best of field so far. But he's got 7 more minutes to hold off. A long ball from the keeper. Cut off from Lewis, and Quayle looks to pick it up, as does Stone. The line beats everyone. It will be a Devonport throw. Comes down the line, picked up from Ludford. In the bullseye, he'll pick out Morton. It's a shocking touch. Lets in Mulroney. Puts it out ahead of Gorry. Gorry over the top of the defence. Looking for Mann. He wins a header in the air. Sits for Denehey. He fashions a strike on the half volley. It's a shocker. It's wide. And out of play. It looks like there might be another change, is there? Or they're just calling for a ball? Some real voice from Dan Brown trying to fire up the troops. Thanks. So 85 gone. Comes long from Wilson. High in the air, won by Brown. It's a foul against Barnard, and it'll give South Hobart the ball. They're getting a bit panicky now. This could be a season-defining clash. A win would mean a 5-point gap at the top. Hess to Ludford, to Sculthorpe, to Quayle, inside. Hot on his heels is Sison. He does enough to find Walter, who overplays it, and it's out for a throw-in. So a throw in no hurry, and you can understand why. Smith, there to Quayle, looking for Scullthorpe. He might be young, but he's not afraid to throw his weight around. Bustles in, but it's out of him last, and it'll be a striker's throw. Could this be the result that shakes the league? As it comes along, flicked on from Mann. Flicked on again, this time from Ludford to Denehey to Sison. He'll look to pirouette, he does. Picks it up and switches wide. It'll find Gorry. Gorry, it's a nice ball from Sison. He's been superb. Looks to cut in Gorry. Somehow finds its way through to Denehey unintentionally. Who finds Mann! Who finds home! It's a goal for the Strikers, and it's surely the winner! Surely the sealer here at Valley Road. Brayden Mann, this time the linesman can't thwart him. It's a goal, and it's 2-0 to the Strikers. The ladder leading Strikers, they get across and celebrate. We see it was put in from Denehey, and Brayden Mann, as he always does, finishes off to great effect, and the Strikers extend their advantage. It was fortuitous. It found its way somehow through to Denehey, and they made South Hobart pay. Now real desperate stuff here for South Hobart. Mulroney at the back finds Sison. Away it goes. Bounces out in front of Ludford, a low header. Picked up by Gorry. Gorry does well, gets by a couple in traffic, holds it up. In the end he loses it, and Barnard just goes, let's get it moving. Cut off from Ludford. In midfield, it's down through Scullthorpe and heaved clear by Zupo. Devonport Strikers in the box seat. As we see, Brown just was all at sea there. It was just a quick counter-attack. It just bobbled its way to Denehey somehow, and he put a perfect cut back in for Mann, who was never missing that one. Mulroney sends it high in a contest with Lazinski. Pajari turns it on. Finds Morton into the box. Jansopoulos all over it, but he can't hold on to it. He blocks Walter's effort at the edge of the box. It's still alive for South Hobart though. Barnard wrestles for it. Zupo across, and it's clear and out of play. Somehow they escape again. Thrown in from Lewis, back through Smith, and then Lewis tips it out. Nicely done by Denehey, and a throw for Smith. Smith down the line. One in there from Barnard, but he can only put it out of play. So the scoreboard and the clock now enemies of South Hobart. They have a power of work to do in very few minutes. Picked up from Smith, and Stone won't muck around. Just smashes forward. Wilson well out of his box to collect. Picked up. Comes long. Off Mulroney's head. Grattan and Pajari Scullthorpe in a foot race. Grattan across to it and puts it out of play for a throw. Denehey in midfield, loses it. It's with Walter. Walter shifts wide and finds Quayle. A zigzagging effort sees him inside and finds Lazinski. Lazinski has it blocked from Stone, and it's a foul against the South Hobart target man, and it'll be Devonport's ball in their defence. Giansopoulos over the ball. So we're into added time here now at Valley Road. And it's remarkable to think after that first half of football that we could be witnessing Devonport Strikers surge further ahead at the top of the table. They were second best by a long way. I'm not sure I've seen a team play so poorly and be 0-0. Agricultural here from Dom Smith, and it's out of play. Throw in now for Farrell. Flicked on by Brown. Lazinski keeps it moving. Sison looks to help it out, and then helped further by the big Zupa Duper. Just cans it down the line. Ken Morton cutting a rather frustrated figure on the South Hobart bench, and it's no surprise with the amount of chances they've had in this game. To be 2-0 down is simply remarkable. Thrown in from Lazinski to Brown, into the box. Giansopoulos gobbles it up as he has all game. He's undisputed man of the match. 92 gone now, and you wouldn't think there's much longer. Comes along from Giansopoulos. Helped further by Denehey from Lewis. Denehey just scoops over the top. Mann does well with body position, holds it up. He's somehow still got it, Braden Mann. He might just drop it off for Barnard. He does, who fashions a shot wide. He had Stone at the edge of the box, but probably didn't know it. It's a shot wide. And it's a ball for James Wilson and South Hobart as it comes along. One in the air by Grattan. Brown comes in. Seen clear. Dom Smith over the top. And Copper's just pulled it up for a talking to between Stone and Morton. A bit to say between the pairing. You wouldn't have thought there's much to do here. Maybe Stone's just got under the skin of the Mort Hog there. South Hobart players understandably frustrated considering they played Devonport off the park for 45 minutes and had nothing to show for it. Quayle to Brown. Likes a big moment. What can he do here? Finds Lazinski, who somehow wins it. But unfortunately, numbers win out. Mulroney takes it. 94 gone. Can't be too much left in this contest. It's with Morton. Morton with a look-away pass. Mulroney beats Lazinski to it. Now he's at the races. Looks to play it long. It's blocked from Farrell. Farrell will pick it up. Wide he goes. Finds Quayle. Quayle knocks it. Finds Farrell. To Hess. Gets by Sison. A shot from Hess. It's blocked and it's wide for a corner. And it's full time here at Valley Road. A 2-0 win for the Devonport Strikers. They continue their terrific season, backing up a Lackaseljet Cup win on Monday with a huge 6-pointer in the league in a top-of-the-table tussle up against their closest rivals, South Hobart. The visitors will be bitterly disappointed. They'll head back with their tails in between their legs. They played Devonport off the park comprehensively, smashed them for 45 minutes and had zip to show for it, and were made to pay for their lack of finishing, lack of cutting edge by a very clinical Devonport Strikers who virtually had 2 shots on in the second half and put both away. Here was the first. Stone scooped over the top. Denehey first to react. Unfashionable, but it found its way into the back of the net. That was the opener. They very nearly had a second, if not denied by the linesman, when Braden Mann put it in the back of the net. Here was the other one. Alex Walter just horribly missing a pass, really. Gave it straight to Denehey, and it fell for Mann, who fizzed it into the back of the net. Braden Mann celebrated with a home crowd, made it 2-0, sealed the game. And Devonport are now 5 points ahead of South Hobart on the table, stay at the top of the pile and back up a huge win over in the Lacazette Cup with another win over South Hobart. They've certainly got their number in 2016. 3 games, 3 wins. The Strikers, that defensive game was on show again. Their passing and their creativity, to be honest, in the first half was utterly rubbish. They were nowhere when it came to their midfield and front 3. But they picked up the pieces in the second half and crafted some chances and took them. Their defence was superb. Daniel Sison, terrific in midfield, just cuts it out, just does the tough stuff. A lot of stuff that maybe people don't notice, but he just got in there and was a pest. Zupo was defiant at the back, and Nico Giansopoulos played a blinder. When he was being posed questions in the first half, he stood tall and he plucked it out. A terrific win for the Devonport Strikers. Were they deserving victors? That's up for interpretation, but it doesn't matter. It's all about putting the ball in the back of the net, and that's what they did on 2 occasions. A 2-0 win at home. They surge further ahead at the top of the table. I've been Damien Gill from FFT. I hope you've enjoyed our coverage from Valley Road. Bye for now.